Connor Zilisch is like the Terminator. This guy is calculated in what he says, but he is on point whenever he speaks. Any actions he takes is after a lot of consideration. So when we talk about cold-blooded, I think you can just go ahead and put Connor Zilisch's name next to the term, because Connor Zilisch just called out Austin Hill in the most savage way possible. And he did it with a smile. So on a recent episode of Actions Detrimental, Zilisch, he hosted the podcast, and he had Todd Gilliland as his co-host. And they were talking about how drivers apologize after wrecking each other. And Zilisch was very upfront, and he said, look, I'm a caller, because a phone call gets the message across better than a text message. It's also a situation where it's better give the guy until, Tuesday, Wednesday to kind of calm down, get his emotions in check, and then you can hash things out. And it's obviously better than an email or a telegram or what other, devices of communication you want to use, right? Maybe don't have a Google Hangouts with him, but just a phone call at work, right? And he revealed that the apology never came after Austin Hill decided to Austin Hill himself by taking himself, Connor Zilisch, and SVG out at the Naval Base Coronado, a.k.a. San Diego, that was ran a couple months ago. Now, if you take Connor at face value, he said that he waited for a call, a text from Austin Hill, and he didn't hear anything. So this is where things get a little more spicy. After SVG later wrecked Hill at Chicagoland, you remember that, and got called to the NASCAR hauler for it, Zilisch decided, let's deliver a dagger. So he went up to Austin Hill, and in his words, Connor said, hey man, I'm just glad I didn't have to do it. What does that mean? Well, here's a little translation. Someone else had already handled your payback for me. Now, Zilisch admitted that Hill did not like it, did not appreciate it, and shrugged it off with a grin, saying, but I'm crazy. Now, he also owned his own aggression, revealing that he texted Ricky Stenhouse after the Brickyard 400, not really to apologize, but to laugh about the brutal block he threw all the way to the white line that helped him trigger a wreck. So, Zilisch lecturing anyone on an apology, etiquette is kind of hilarious when he openly admits that he blots guys all the way down to the white line and it causes a big wreck. The drivers who talk the most about respect are almost always the one handling it out the least, or handing it out the least, right? And I've thought about a lot of this, and we are in a time and we are in a place in NASCAR and motorsports in general, I think, where things have never been more aggressive. Drivers have never been more aggressive. Blocking has never been this aggressive. Pushing at super speedways have never been more aggressive. Restarts, right? The way that you drive. We've heard old timers, and I say that with respect, but we've heard these guys come out and talk about how you race someone the way you want to be raced. In the sense of, okay, it's lap 2, it's lap 50, it's lap 100. We have, 40, 50, 60, 80% left of the race to go. You're faster than me right now. I'm just going to let you by. I'll get you on the way back. And I want you to remember the way that I raced you. Well, that doesn't really happen now. It doesn't happen in the ARCA series. It doesn't happen in the Truck series, the O'Reilly series, or the NASCAR Cup series. Why? Because of 2 reasons. Number one, the talent level has never been this razor thin. And just like the second reason, The cars have never been this razor thin in terms of an advantage. Everyone has data that they can look at and see, okay, well, here's where you put your steering input, and here's where you put your braking input and your throttle pickup and your throttle drop off and the angles that you enter a corner. It's not Bill up on the bots giving you just this information. There's actual real-time data that these teams and drivers and everybody can go over. And not only do they go over them, but they are obsessed with this data. You've heard this. The drivers, as soon as the race is over, as soon as they shower up, as soon as they're on the plane, they cannot get that data fast enough to read and to see where they went wrong, where they went right, and how people were getting the better of them, and what the people who did wrong, what did they do wrong? So when we talk about aggression in NASCAR, you have to understand those two things. And it all comes down to razor thin advantages. And so if you understand that, you see that, you get that, I would also say to you, you can understand why someone would be so damn aggressive when it comes to blocking or restarts or pushing, because the day in which you give up a spot, that way, in 100 laps from now, I can gain 2 spots ahead of you, the person I just let go, they're over because the advantage is not there, right? Everyone is so damn good. Everyone has such good cars that the competition rate is at such a high level. You can't do that anymore. And so you have to be that aggressive, and you have to fight tooth and nail to the bitter end for 14th or 22nd. Because if you don't, then you're going to drop further and further. And we talk about, well, it's so hard to pass. Well, yeah, those are the 2 reasons why it's so hard to pass, right? And you can talk about dirty air, and you can talk about aerodynamics, and you talk about downforce, and you talk about all these various variables here. And that's true. But you got to look at what these guys, these gals, these teams, these crew chiefs, these drivers, these owners, everyone involved in these types of races have to go through. And just because Austin Hill, who doesn't have the same type of equipment as Connor Zilisch is, Austin Hill does historically take things right up to the edge. And in a lot of cases, he finds himself in some very interesting spots. So very insightful information here by Connor Zilisch. I really appreciated him breaking it down for everyone. Let me know down in the comments area below, where do you land? And I will see you on the next video.